Hello. My name is Jonathan Force. I run a web design studio, if you didn't already know that. And today I want to talk with you about something that is a core part to my business, and that is content production. Content production is a bit of a funny topic to me because for me it's such a core part of my business. It's just like something I have to do because otherwise I will not be in business, I will not have new leads, and eventually I'm gonna go homeless. But to others, when I speak about it, they always hesitate and go, well, is it worth the time or money investment? And I'm like, well, yes, obviously, because I'm here today because of that. But it's not as obvious to others. And I talk with people online and people like in real life, friends about this, that also is either starting out as a freelancer or running businesses that generate hundreds of thousands of revenue per month. So I want to break down a few of the most common concerns I hear about it and also give you some tips on how I implement my content strategy and publish content 7 times per day. Now, before we do that though, I want to address the elephant in the room. This is not my usual setup. If this is your first video, I'm so terribly sorry that this is your first impression of me. I'm currently traveling in Malaysia and other Asian countries right now. Currently in Kuala Lumpur. My camera ran out of battery and my tripod is messed up, so I'm currently recording this on my iPhone with a selfie camera, leaning my phone against the wall in the bedroom. So like, that is what it is. So, content production, what is it? It's such a fluffy word that more and more people are kind of throwing around, especially if you're very active in the creator community kind of market space. Content production to me is just publishing content online that aligns with your values and your goals. So for example, I want to grow my business in the sense of growing a community around what I do. That's number one. Number two is also that I want and need to generate new leads for my web design studio. So those are the two goals that I have in mind when I publish any piece of content online, including the one you're watching right now. This piece here is intended to grow a community around what I do. And the reason I decided to go this more organic content route when building my business is mainly just because I used to be a marketer and this is what I know. I know no other way, so I went with it and it worked out. Now, some of the most common concerns I hear when I talk about content production and organic growth, well, Jonathan, it's gonna take a long time. I don't have that time. And my response to that is yes. It is what it is. Anything worth building, anything worth your time is gonna take time. That's just the default reality of how life works. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So it's a very kind of slow ramp to get started. But once that ramp does get started, it tends to be like an exponential growth curve, but that exponential growth will take you probably, in my case, 6 months, 7, 8 months to start seeing. And that's a long time that you may not have. But at the same time, it's also free. All it costs is your time. And if there's anything you have when starting out, it's plenty of time. So that's my response to that. The second concern I hear from people is that, well, Jonathan, I don't know what to talk about. How am I supposed to talk about 7 different things every single day? My mind can barely think about one thing in a single day. My response to that is apply a strategy. The way I approach my content production is I have something called content pillars. Content pillars, to give you the brief version, is essentially what the name suggests, that you have different pillars of content and each pillar has a different size. So you have a main piece of content that could be a podcast, a long form video, a blog article, something long and heavy and dense with lots of information that can be broken down into smaller pieces. That's the main pillar. Then you have the secondary pillar, and this secondary pillar contains content from the main pillar but in a more summarized way. So let's say that you have a podcast that runs for an hour, let's say. That hour can be broken down into several smaller chunks that can be posted to TikTok or YouTube Shorts in a 30 to 60 second format. That is a smaller piece of content in a smaller pillar. And then you can have a third, a fourth, a fifth, and so on pillars that each have a slightly different variation from the secondary pillar with the smaller pieces. Also, unrelated, I just realized I've been looking at the screen instead of the camera for most of this video, so I'm sorry. Anyway, that strategy allows me to constantly publish new content, whether or not I have something new to talk about. I just refurbish essentially existing content into a different variation and different version. So for example, this video that you're watching right now, I have already broken down into 3 other smaller videos that I will be posting to YouTube Shorts and TikTok. So those are my secondary pillar content. And then this video itself is also inspired by tweets and LinkedIn posts that I have seen or posted myself previously. So everything kind of intertwines and is interlinked with each other. And that's the way it needs to be, because if you're trying to come up with new content all of the time, that's impossible. Now, concern number 3, and probably one of the most common ones, is that, well, Jonathan, I'm just not that interesting. And to that I will say, bullshit. Stop lying. Everyone has interesting things to say. That is true. I will stand by that at any point in time. You can wake me at 3 a.m. and I will say the same thing. Every single human on this earth has a different take on everything. I am not the same as you watching this. I am not the same as my sister, my brother, my mother, my father, or any of my friends. Which means that my brain, the one up here, works in a different way than all of these people. Which then means that if I put those thoughts into written or video format, it will be slightly different than someone else. Even if I talk about the exact same topic as someone else, my content will still be different from the other person's, because we're just different people. And so to think that you have nothing interesting to say is just not true. A great example of this is actually what I'm talking about right now, because everything I'm saying here in this video and all of my other videos is obvious to me. But I know that it's not obvious to many others, probably not to you watching this, or friends that I speak with. It's obvious to me because I know it. And other things may be obvious to you because you know it, but it may be completely mind-blowing to me because it's news to me. So regardless of what you think, you do have unique perspectives. So share them. And that leads me to the 4th issue that people bring up, and that is, well, Jonathan, I don't want to talk about the work all the time. And that's great. Don't. Easy answer. Then don't. Most people seem to forget the social part of social media. It's not just media, it's social media. So what that means in practice is that if you have certain things that you are passionate about that is completely unrelated to business, then talk about them. Because especially if you're a freelancer, your personal brand is all that matters. People buy you, not your services necessarily. They buy you because they trust you. And so if you show your personality and all of the different quirks, people will love that. Now, it's also gonna detract some individuals, but those aren't the people that you wanted to be in touch with anyway, because it's also gonna attract other people. And if you're trying to please everyone, then you're in reality just not pleasing anyone. For example, in practice, I am a massive fan of running and bouldering and just being physically active. I talk about these things. For example, I'm actively training right now for a 160-kilometer race and 100 miles for those of you who don't use kilometers. That's a massive part of my life, so I'm sharing that right now. Hey, look. And you probably found that kind of cool. But it's completely unrelated to business. But it's showing my personality. And if you're taking away anything from this video, that should be it. You need to show your full personality, because that's what people are buying. Okay, the final issue that people most often bring up to me, number 5, time management. They go, well, Jonathan, I already am super busy running my business. How am I gonna add social media on top of that as well? And to that I say, go back to where I talked about content pillars. You need a proper strategy to apply and that you can repeat over and over and over, and create a system that allows you to not think and just kind of go by automation almost. And I don't mean AI automation, I mean human automation. Almost build a muscle memory situation. And I'm not gonna dig any deeper into that. I spend on average 2-3 hours per week creating and scheduling all of my content across 4 different platforms 7 times a day. That is a lot of content, but I can do it in a very short time, and that is because I have a system in place that I've done over and over and over and over. Okay, that's it. These have been some of the most common concerns that I hear from people when I talk about content production and publishing content online in general for your business. And if you completely ignore everything I've said in this video, I just want you to take away one thing. Get started, because that's all that matters. You will eventually figure out all of these points that I've gone through already for yourself on your own. So just get started. Don't be scared. Don't think that no one is interested. You are unique, you have interesting things to say, and people are gonna vibe with that. Some will not, but some will. And with that said, don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, befriend me on LinkedIn, and hit like on this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.